Um, I believe everyone should be able to hear and see me, which is always a bit of a challenge. I am coming from the land of the Darkin Young people in Gosford, which is in New South Wales, Australia. And it is now 7:44 p.m., so we should be on time. Woo! Um, I will speak to you today a little bit about memes. And I know this may sound funny, but I do have reasons to be interested in memes. Many of us are involved in online education and in distance education, and this involves students who are very digitally literate. So we need to be also prepared to understand their culture and the internet culture that they are influenced by. This presentation will be quite funny, so please feel free to laugh. And also please feel free to interject in the chat, say what you think, comment, send emojis. Please be very nice if you're giving feedback, because I cry very easily. Thank you. A little disclaimer to begin with. All the names, characters, businesses, places, events, and incidents in this presentation herein are fictional, including only for comedic purposes. Okay? I haven't seen who's in the attending list, but just in case, hi Jane. Please don't fire me. I have a mortgage. So, when we come and teach, especially online, especially at a distance, we have a very different experience of digital compared to our learners. I am in the getting old department, and I remember 3.5-inch discs. And yes, a lot of our learners don't. We have learners now. I have my youngest learner who was born in 2007, and that is very stressful for me because I remember 2007. So I've been using computers quite a bit when I was growing up. And a few years later, while I was still growing up, because I'm still very young, I remember smartphones and I remember phones coming in, and now they're everywhere. So we had a session today where we had to quarantine our students so they wouldn't share the content of the exam to other students who still had to sit the exam. And they struggled to spend a few hours without their digital devices and in quarantine, what we call quarantine. And they struggled to think about what they would do for a few hours. And I thought, I spent 20 years of my life without the internet, and we managed to have fun anyway. So there was a difficult plane to get to have a conversation, but yeah, the struggle. But yes, smartphones and technological advancements have made the internet really a part of our lives. And especially now that we have very fast internet, and this allows me to speak to you from Australia, and many of you will be in a different continent. So when we engage with students online, their experience of the internet is mostly shaped by modern internet and modern culture. So I did my PhD, and I started my PhD in 2016. And right as I was finishing my PhD, this happened. And yeah, it was fun. No, it wasn't fun, let's not lie. But I had to spend a lot of time on the internet, and I had to teach on the internet, and I had to engage with my supervisors on the internet, and I had to find advice on the internet. And it was truly an interesting time for many reasons. And truly, it spiked the popularity of social media even further. So I started getting interested in social media, and I started engaging in online groups and social media groups of other doctoral students and other young academics. And we would make, all of these fun jokes. And they were very good because they allowed us to share ideas and thoughts and what we were feeling and going through together. In real time, effectively, without language barriers and, well, or with very limited need for language. And we found that a lot of the experiences we were having were really cross-cultural, and they translated to other places in the world and to other contexts, because the human experience was very similar and we could express it through digital memes. So I started really looking at the academic spaces online and what kind of feelings and norms they were portraying and sharing and communicating. And then almost quite naturally, I ended up in the spaces that the students instead populate online. And the spaces that students have are full of memes around content, around their learning experience, around what they think of their educational experience. So this started really made me want to understand more about what they share, because it was such an important experience for me. And I think it is still a very big part of my life. I wanted to understand how it is instead for students. And I wanted to explore their culture a bit better and be able to have data and have evidence on what kind of messages the students receive from the internet. So they share a lot of messages around their learning. And for those of you who are not in medicine, BNB, Boards and Beyond, USMLE Step 1, Anki, and Sketchy are all third-party platforms. And then that picture is of Dr. Sattar, who has an incredibly well-made series of lectures on YouTube that our students clearly prefer to our lectures. And I say this with a little bit of pain. They also share and make a lot of memes that are quite funny and quite valuable about the content that they're studying. So this is about the action potential, and at the end of the action potential, the sodium ions exit the cell, which is 100% correct. And this is a great tool to remember it. And another fun one, the red blood cell asking the macrophage, where did the pathogen go? And the macrophage has encircled the pathogen and eaten it, basically. And the students find this funny, and they do remember it. There are also a lot of memes that are more complex. This is a meme about congestive heart failure. And when the heart fails to pump blood to the body, the kidney activates the renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system to increase the volume. But this is a maladaptive mechanism. And I spent so much time in my lectures explaining it to the students. But then there's a meme, and this makes perfect sense to the students, and they understand it because there are very powerful forms of content that we can express through memes. So naturally, what did I do? I started collecting memes, and I collect memes for each week of the semester that we teach, and I share them to my students. And I invite them to make memes, and I invite them to share their memes with me, especially if they have valuable content behind them. I share memes that are complex, that are about research, with other colleagues as well. And I think it gives us also a bit of levity in what we do. And just to conclude, yes, I make memes just a little bit about my life still and share them with other academics. So ultimately, yes, they are funny memes, but I think there's more behind them. And I think it's valuable looking at these memes and studying them and understanding what they mean and how the students engage with them. So this is what I plan to do, and this is what I'm doing with my research. It is still funny, and this is something I find very enjoyable. So research should be enjoyable, and I hope everyone can have a bit of levity in their day sometimes. But there is an important meaning, and even in the fun aspects, well, an important aspect is that a variety of tools online, including generative AI, can do a lot of the hard work, but no artificial intelligence tool has been able to be effective in creating humor. So this is what I plan to look at with my research. And I keep doing this in my teaching. And thank you so much for listening. I hope you'll have a chance to join.
Thanks so much, Dr. Eleonora. This was very engaging. I loved the memes. I'll now hand over to our audience to ask questions. I see there's a lot that's going on in the chat. I'm sure you can see too. This is very interesting. Yeah, I think this is very engaging. I liked the fact that you mentioned giving your students the chance and inviting them to collect memes with you. But I have a question. How easy is it to find memes that actually convey your course content, that relate to your course content and actually convey facts? I suppose a person has to kind of like review some of these things.
Yeah, it is sometimes a little hard. I end up making a lot of memes myself just because I think I've been immersed in that culture for so long. It's easier for me to make a meme sometimes than to find a meme. Um, I spend quite a bit of time um, looking up memes or making memes. I'm just checking to see if my head of school is listening. um, and I still deliver all of my teaching and do all of the rest of my job. Don't worry. But I find it's a very unique way of creating meaning, and I think it honestly sits at a very high level of Bloom's taxonomy. So if we manage to create memes that are genuinely funny but relate to significant facts and express, physiology or pathology concepts really well, then this should be praised. So I always invite my students and I tell them that I will consider the work that they do in making memes.
Thanks so
So a
much,
lot of
Dr.
memes come from my students. I steal them from them.
Okay, that's perfect. Any questions, colleagues? You're welcome to use your mic or just raise your hand if you need to ask Dr. Nora something. Um, what a
Ah,
memorable session, says Carmen.
I love it, Carmen.
If there's no question, colleagues, you are welcome to use the program.